Divine beings, hi. How are you guys? I had to fix something. These phones are always doing something. I think I have it charging, so some screen came up. Anyway, how are you guys? I hope everybody's doing well. I'm having a good day. I'm just finishing up with my work days. I'm home. I'm hoping that there won't be too much noise um, because the specific area where I reside is a bit noisy. But now that it's, the afternoon, I'm hoping that it'll be quiet. It's just hard to get a quiet space. I need an office. I'm manifesting an office so that, when I get on here and we learn together, I like that phrase a lot better versus me teaching. But for those of you that come on here to learn, yeah, that is teaching. That is me teaching technically, but I'm learning with you all as I am researching all of this information that I'm putting out for you guys. So a lot of it is new to me, and I prefer that we learn together versus I'm already coming in knowing, a lot of what I'm talking about. I just feel like it adds more excitement to me wanting to get on here and talk about, the different subject matter that I discuss on this channel. For those of you that are new to my channel and this is your first video that you're watching on my channel, welcome. I'm January. We're here. We discuss all things healing. And there may be some subject matter that I discuss that you're like, how does that tie into healing? I'm going to tell you right now, everything that I speak about does, whether it makes sense or not. But I will always talk about how it ties into healing at the end. So that if that makes any sense when I go into an explanation about it. Okay? But I hope you all are well. And if not, I hope that you are making arrangements along your healing journey to be well. Every day is going to be different as far as how we feel based on what's going on and where we are on our timelines, right? Based on this Earth School journey. Did you tell yourself you loved yourself today? I hope that you did. I hope that you took time and told yourself that you loved yourself and that you took a step today that proved what you are saying as far as you telling yourself that you love yourself. A step that you took is proving to yourself that you love yourself, that you really do love yourself. So I say, hey, I love myself, and today I made sure that I ate something healthy. That is a simple step. It may not be simple for people that are used to eating unhealthy, but that is a step, that is proving to yourself that you truly love yourself because you provided your body, your temple with nourishment, not just something to satisfy hunger, right? So that you wouldn't be physically uncomfortable. But did you really eat something nourishing to the body? Did you drink, a good amount of water today for hydration? I hope the sun is not too bright. You have to excuse things if it is because y'all know how I feel about sun. I just love the sunshine. So I'm going to get into what I wanted to discuss. I apologize for missing yesterday. Yesterday was really, really busy for me. By the time I got back home, it was 8 o'clock, and I still had unwinding to do, and, I made my dinner and everything, but, I still had other things to do to get ready for bed. And by the time I got to bed, without making the time to record for you guys so that we could learn together what I, decided on discussing yesterday, it was 11 o'clock. It was just too late. So, here we are, right? So it's okay. I made it today. So, but like I said, I like to keep my days to Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And then I like to come on here over the weekend, for you guys too. And we can talk about some things or not, just kind of bring you guys along with me, whatever I'm doing, because 9 times out of 10, if it's nice out, I'm outside, like I said before. So it's kind of sprinkling here right now, which is cool because I like when it sprinkles and it's sunny. I love that. Or it's a light rain or even a mild rain and it's sunny. Rain just period when it's sunny. I think that is so dope. So today we're going to talk about soul contracts. Briefly, I always say briefly when I'm on here discussing certain subject matter because I want to go more in depth, and I will as our journey together continues, and so that we can put the pieces together. But there's more research I'm wanting to do in regard to this subject in particular. I did talk about certain soul contracts on Saturday, but I'm just going to go a little bit more in depth about them today. Okay, some of the information that I will be speaking about today, it's going to kind of be repetitive of what I talked about on Saturday, but there's a huge addition to what I discussed on Saturday that I will be talking about today. So we're talking about soul contracts, and my research about soul contracts was that a soul contract is a spiritual concept that suggests that before our births, our souls made agreements with other souls regarding key relationship experiences and lessons we will learn in our earthly lives. A fluid blueprint designed for our spiritual growth, evolution, and healing. Okay, this ties into healing. They just said healing. What's the purpose of them? Lesson plans. Souls intentionally choose specific life circumstances and hardships. Did y'all get that? Souls intentionally choose specific life circumstances and hardships, such as trauma, difficult breakups, or sudden changes as a means to learn specific virtues like forgiveness. We need to learn forgiveness. Resilience. Okay, that's truly, truly important. Well, they both are. And independence. Okay. So that's the breakdown of the lesson plans. Now let's talk about karmic resolution, which is believed to help resolve unfinished business or heal unresolved emotions from past lifetimes. Spiritual catalyst is next. Okay, not all soul contracts are meant to be pleasant. Did y'all get that? 838, as I said that, not all soul contracts are meant to be pleasant. Some act as catalysts. That means they push you to grow or push you to move forward. Or they're trying to force you to see what you need to take from it, the lesson that you need to learn. A catalyst. Okay? That bring temporary upheaval or pain to trigger your awakening and force you to grow. I'm going to read this again because I feel like it's all important, but this one, spiritual catalyst. Not all soul contracts are meant to be pleasant. Some act as catalysts that bring temporary upheaval or pain to trigger your awakening and force you to grow. So those were all the purpose. Those were the different purposes of the soul contracts. Okay, the lesson plans, the karmic resolutions, and the spiritual catalyst. Okay. So let's talk about now what the common signs of a soul contract are. Instant familiarity, a profound sense of comfort where it feels like you've known the person for years, even if you just met them. We discussed this on Saturday. Magnetic pull, an unexplained deep attraction or intense draw to the person, which can be romantic, platonic, or professional. We also discussed this on Saturday. Okay. Intense triggering, rapid personal growth that frequently pushes you out of your comfort zone and forces you to confront your deepest emotional wounds, which in turn, if you are forced to take a look at your deepest emotional wounds and you decide, because we all have free will, you decide to heal those wounds, you can evolve and grow. Okay? Now let's talk about free will versus predestination. Okay? Because I just talked about free will. We have the option to choose or not to choose. Meaning we have the option to grow or not to grow. Either we have the option to heal or not to heal. Either we have the option to learn or not to learn. Right? Free will versus predestination. While the lessons are agreed upon, soul contracts are not rigid or inescapable. Some say free will always prevails, and you have the power to decide how you react to a situation when you choose to end a toxic relationship, and whether or not you learn the lesson being presented in that toxic relationship or in those toxic connections. Excuse me. How does one learn their specific soul contract? So I wanted to go into how do we learn what our specific soul contract is, okay? The soul contract, which is which can be learned through retrieving a soul contract chart. Okay? So we can learn our specific soul contract by obtaining a soul contract chart. Okay? What is it? So a soul contract chart is a system that is rooted in ancient Hebrew and Kabbalistic numerology that translate the phonetic sounds and letters of your birth name into specific spiritual frequencies. I think this is really cool when I was learning about this. So what does this soul contract chart show? It shows your spiritual map outlining the specific lessons, karma, talents, and goals your soul chose to experience in this lifetime. It is usually mapped onto a Star of David chart. Okay, and I can talk more about what a Star of David chart is. So I think this week we want to focus on soul contracts more. I would like to, with you guys, focus on that more for the duration of this week, and then going into what a soul contract chart is, Star of David chart. We can delve into all of that. I'm no expert in that. I'm actually first time learning about these, actually, because I did not know about them myself. But I think this is really interesting. And it shows, okay, so what it shows, what the soul contract chart shows. It shows your spiritual map outlining the specific lessons, karma, talents, and goals your soul chose to experience in this lifetime. So again, it is usually mapped onto a Star of David chart. Okay, I know I repeated that again, but we needed to know that again, because this is really important. And it says the data that's used in your exact birth name given to you at birth. Okay, I apologize for any outside noise. I may actually because this is such a busy area. Okay, so maybe that's better, right, guys? Okay. My apologies. So let's get back to it. Hold on. I'm going to pause this for a second, one moment. I told y'all those distractions, they never fail. All right. So anyway, let's go ahead and proceed. So where I left off was the data that's used is your exact birth name given to you at birth. So that would be your name that's on your birth certificate, okay? How to obtain yours. So how do you obtain your soul contract chart, okay? You would obtain yours. So how you can do that is you can research online a free soul contract chart. And I didn't look at the websites that they provided where you could obtain one of these, but I'm going to look into that tomorrow so that I can give you guys my feedback on my experience with it. And I'll probably work with it the duration of the week, or even mostly tomorrow if it's not too time consuming, because I do have to work and all of that, and I have some other things to do. So I'm going to see, as far as timing, 633, as I said, that how long it takes to break it down, because it may not take that long, but I also don't want to rush the process if it's something that I need to take my time to do. And if I have to take my time, then I'll go ahead and make sure that I'm taking, the duration of the week to do it. And then I'll link back up with you guys on Saturday or Sunday over the weekend and let you know, how mine turned out, right? But I'm really excited about this because, like I said, I didn't know that there was such a thing. Or maybe I did and I forgot, because I've obtained so much information over the years, but my brain has just been like, because there's been too much going on. Okay, so that's how you can obtain your free soul contract chart. Is a soul contract chart the same as a birth chart? I wanted to clarify this. No, it is not. A birth chart and a soul contract chart are two different things, okay? And you can obtain your birth chart free online as well. I've obtained mine. So there's a lot of websites out there where you guys can obtain your free birth charts. And you can even break down your own birth chart, because I've done mine. Like, once I received my birth chart, all of that stuff is like Mandarin to me, because it's just a lot to it. So I haven't really looked at it in detail, my birth chart, but I did start breaking it down probably about almost a year ago now. And a lot of, what I'm experiencing along my journey and the way that I am, my personality and all of that, it makes sense. It just makes sense, so I think that is absolutely amazing. That is like our blueprint, our birth chart. And then apparently this one as well, when it comes to, the different things that we're just going to deal with in this walk of life when it comes to specific lessons that we're going to learn. This soul contract chart is the blueprint for that. And then the birth chart, I believe, is just the blueprint for, just who you are and what you came here to do, and, on a soul level. But, we can talk about those too. So it says, also what I put on here in my notes is how to gain access to the information in this contract, okay? So once you receive your chart, be it you pull it up yourself and you put it together yourself, or you seek out someone that can assist you that is well versed on this subject matter. How you would gain the information from your soul contract chart was recommended that you use guided meditation and introspection. Okay. They said also that there is something that is called soul amnesia. I thought that this was really interesting as well. It said soul amnesia is believed to cause us to forget our pre-birth agreements, but you can quiet the mind in order to access this information, okay, about our soul contracts, okay. Some other tools to assist with decoding your life lessons are astrology, okay. In astrology, it says your moon sign in Midheaven can provide insight into your emotional purpose and life path. And it says numerology and contract reading. So a numerology and soul contract reading. So the practitioners that deal with this, they say some of them use the sound and Hebrew translation of your birth name for calculation and chart your specific soul lessons. So this is like someone, if you got a numerology and soul contract reading through a practitioner, this is what they would do to pull up your chart for you and to get the information for you in regard to your chart and your specific soul lessons. So this was really cool. I thought that soul contract chart was really interesting. And then, you know, again, like we said, we delve a little bit more into soul contracts, which I think is beneficial for us. I know those of us that are waking up, you know, again, we have all these questions and, you know, there's so many unknowns and you're waking up and it's like, it's, you know, it's like this blank canvas of not knowing what to do, where to go. You feel alone and isolated and abandoned because once you awaken, everyone around you seems like they absolutely do not know, you know, who you are and can help you when this happens to you. And I feel like even before it happens to you, you know, they can't help you and they definitely won't understand what you're going through unless they are going through that themselves. And that was another reason why I created this channel and this space, you know, was because for those of you that are just waking up, 225, as I said that, it's like, you know, you just feel like there's nowhere for you to turn. And there's so many strange occurrences that are happening to you and things that you're experiencing. And it's like, you know, you can't make sense of it. And then if you talk to somebody about it, they're going to think you cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And like you're off your fucking rocker. And it's like, no. You are going through a spiritual awakening. So there's just a lot of things that aren't going to make sense to you. So it definitely isn't going to make sense to someone who has not awakened themselves. And again, like I said, you know, when you try to, I think it's too, sun is too bright, so I'll kind of pick up the phone and hold it. Is that better, guys? You know, they're just not going to understand. And there's not going to be any way that you're going to be able to make them understand. Especially, again, like I said, they're not experiencing an awakening themselves. So, like I said, they're just going to treat you like the weird loner. In my case, I've always been the weird loner, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of who I am. There's nothing wrong with being weird. It just simply means you're different. It just simply means you're different, and we're all different, whether we want to accept that or not. So, you know, that's the research that I did about soul contracts. I think that's very interesting. I do want to go more in depth about the soul contracts. Again, we're just going to make this week a week about talking about soul contracts and then this soul contract chart, right? That I want to get into, you know, get into learning, and maybe you guys will become a little bit curious about the soul contract chart and might, decide to dig into your own and see what you come up with. But I think just looking into those different blueprints of who we are, be it our birth charts and our soul contracts, it can assist us in making better sense of who we are on a soul level and why we're here. 252, as I said that, right? Because like I said, if you're at the point where you don't know why you're here, what you're supposed to be doing, and you want to know what your purpose is, I feel that those two tools, your birth chart and your soul contract chart, will be very beneficial in assisting you and figuring all of that out. And of course, just having the proper support and also guidance from your spiritual teams, being your creator and whoever else you are delegating the task, and being supportive of you when it comes to your spiritual team, right? So that's very, very important. We have plenty of support. It may seem like you're alone. I know that some of you that feel lost, I understand. I've been there once upon a time, before my awakening, and it is a lot. It is a lot not knowing why you're here when you want to know why you're here. And for me, before my awakening, that was one of the worst feelings I had, was just being here and then not knowing what the hell I'm supposed to be doing with my time, because I felt like I was wasting time and that what I was doing was the wrong thing. Like I was on the wrong path. Like I was supposed to be doing something much more great than what I was doing. Like the mundane was just not cutting it for me. The mundane was not cutting it. It just wasn't. And I already get bored easy, and I was so bored, and I was like, this cannot be all there is to my life. You have got to be kidding. So I started doing some digging. And started cutting out more and more distractions as I went along. Distractions will always be there though, but as you learn to use your power to cut all of that out, or cut them down as much as you can, then you will be able to have the time that you need to focus on learning not only your lessons based on your soul contract, but also just learning who you are on a soul level, which is so important, like I said, because that is a need to know thing, so that you can go ahead and accomplish your soul contract if that's what you decide. I know that's what I personally decided. I want to get that mug accomplished. So every day, just taking the steps to do that. But again, self-care, rest in between time, all the while healing. So that was fun, learning about soul contracts with you guys, and discussing that. So we just kind of scratched the surface of that. So I want to dig as deep as I can throughout the rest of the week about soul contracts with you guys, and talk about that more, so that we can learn as much as we can about these contracts, so that we can be as successful as we can be when it comes to accomplishing them, right? All right, guys, so that's all that I have today. I hope that you guys were able to learn something and take something away from what I said, even if it wasn't about what I was talking about as far as the main thing, which was the soul contracts. Hopefully I said something to encourage and uplift you guys or someone. And I hope that you have a great rest of your day and a great day tomorrow. I will see you guys I actually will see you guys tomorrow, because I missed you guys Monday and I want to keep my scheduled day. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll talk more about soul contracts and this soul contract chart. I'm going to look into mine. All right. Love, peace, and grace, guys.
Bye. Have a good evening.